Now, please join me in welcoming CenterState CEO President Rob Simpson.
Good afternoon, and welcome. Thank you all so much for coming out today, for celebrating with us, for celebrating your collective success, your individual success, and the success of so many of our great partners. It is truly a privilege for me, and I think for all of us at CenterState CEO, to spend so much time with the hundreds of community leaders, partners, and businesses that share CenterState CEO's vision for a region where business thrives and people prosper. Before we begin in earnest, I would be remiss if I didn't call attention to the incredible team. Our entire team at CenterState CEO has played such an important role, not only in all of our work, but in making this event possible, and in particular Lisa Mitat, who is here for the first time ever. We've moved our Economic Champions Luncheon out of the basement and into this room because we sold out 2 weeks ago and had 200 more people who wanted to join us. Please join me in thanking Lisa for all the great work she does. You know, all of these events are large events, and I think our Economic Champions Luncheon in particular are a very tangible reminder for me of the rich and diverse fabric that drive our region's economy forward. Sole proprietors, retail operators, small and medium-sized firms, multinational corporations, and key community organizations, institutions, and not-for-profits. No individual sector in our economy is dominant. No corporation stands alone as the universal economic force. And no one employer can take the credit or bear the blame for our region's economic performance. We are truly in this journey together, dependent on each other, a stake in each other's success, truly a team. Now, in a little while, you'll have the privilege to hear from Syracuse University women's basketball coach Quentin Hillsman about what it means to be a team, about how winning teams work together to transcend individual effort and achieve shared success. So think about today less as an individual award ceremony and more as a celebration of the collective impact of each of your accomplishments. Yes, we're here to celebrate each and every one of you for your contributions to our region's economy over the past year. But we are also here to celebrate the power of teamwork and the astounding impact that each and every one of you has on the whole, our region, and on the people who live here who are enriched and made more prosperous by the opportunity that your businesses provide. Today, we celebrate 289 companies who have collectively hired 5,111 people, added nearly 2 million square feet of space, and invested close to $1 billion in the past year alone. That is absolutely remarkable. Just think about that and let it sit in for just a minute. While everyone in America wants to know what their community is doing to attract Amazon's new headquarters and the 50,000 jobs that they will bring with them over the next 15 to 20 years, your businesses, your employees have had collectively a greater impact on our regional economy in a single year than that project ever would. The fact is, you represent something even better than a new business to this region. You represent our history, you represent our culture, our neighborhoods, our families, and our future, because this community is not new to most of you, it is already home. The impact that you've had is also more sustainable. There's no trick play in 2017 that padded those numbers, no mythical 4-point shot. Instead, your success has been built on a solid foundation of basic business principles: hard work, perseverance, market analysis, customer service, and innovation. Case in point, 42 of our economic champions this year are celebrating major milestones, a testament to longevity. 66 of you represent entrepreneurs and innovators who have taken the risk to launch new businesses, a testament to your courage and your creativity. And 56 economic champions we celebrate for having earned previous state and national awards. All 289 of your stories represent wins for this region. And with each win, our confidence in ourselves and in our region grows. Now, anyone who's ever played a team sport knows that adversity is a near constant on the field or court. And we all know that our region has faced and continues to face significant challenges and its share of adversity. But yet here we all are, despite those setbacks, to celebrate our progress together. Now, growing up, I was obsessed with baseball. Every day, after school, I would rush home. My friends and I would set up a baseball field in the street in front of one of our houses, and we would play every single day, 4 hours until we were called into dinner. Every single day, unless, of course, it rained. Not to be deterred, on those days, I would sit inside in front of my television and watch The Natural. Robert Redford, an iconic movie, one of the best baseball movies of all time. I'd watch it over and over and over again on Laserdisc. You remember those? Where you literally had to pull the disc out and flip it over to watch the second half of the movie? So for those of you who don't know the movie, Redford's character is a man by the name of Roy Hobbs, an incredible young baseball talent who finds himself on his way to the major leagues as a teenager, only to be injured and waylaid from his dreams for 16 years before finally making it back to the bigs. Now, Hobbs joins a hapless team of major leaguers half his age and proceeds to sit on the bench as his team loses game after game after game after game. So fed up with the losing ways, the manager finally resorts and brings in a sports psychologist who stands in front of the team and in the most monotone, emotionless voice proceeds to lecture the players. Losing is a disease, as contagious as the bubonic plague, attacking one but infecting all. It's this very dramatic, cinematic moment, made all the more dramatic by the fact that the team goes out the very next day and loses all over again. Now, it's not until Pop, the manager, puts Roy Hobbs in a game that things begin to turn. Hobbs wasn't the fastest player on the team nor the strongest, and he was long past his prime as a professional athlete. But he offered something that the other players on the field were lacking: a childhood enthusiasm for the game. He just wanted to play. He wanted to win. And that's exactly what the team began to do when they put him in. Now, there's actually an entire field of study about the psychology of winning. And maybe because of my love for that movie, I've always been interested in it. But it wasn't until a year and a half ago when Quentin Hillsman and Jim Boeheim led our men's and women's basketball team, both at the same time, to the Final Four, that I began to indulge my personal curiosity and find books and journal articles and literature on the subject. Now, the contagion at the time wasn't losing. It was the thrill of victory, the anticipation of the next. The energy in this region was palpable. Bars and restaurants were full on each and every game night. Moods improved, civic pride soared. Doubt was replaced with exuberance and hope. Now, in his award-winning book, The Psychology of Winning, Denis Waitley articulates precisely the razor's edge between winning and losing and the role that we each play in the outcome. There are two primary choices in life, he says: to accept conditions as they exist or accept the responsibility for changing them. As this year's economic champions, each and every one of you and your businesses and your employees have accepted the responsibility for improving the economic condition of this region, and our community is better for your contributions, and we sincerely thank you. Now, over the years, these wins add up. A decade ago, downtown was in trouble. Pioneering projects, though, and a collaborative spirit began to remake our city into a vibrant hub for urban living, culture, and commerce. Early wins like the Masonic Temple and Hanover Square Lofts could be written off as flukes, but soon the growing list of redevelopment projects, new apartments, new employers, and restaurants were an indicator of a more fundamental shift in our market. With success and momentum came ambition and audacity, to the point where no project seemed too big or too difficult to tackle or transform. It's been a very long time since I've heard from a downtown skeptic. Likewise, it was nearly 6 years ago when our region announced plans to pursue one of 6 UAS test sites in the country. And there was plenty of snickering, I remember it well, but we worked hard together and we won that designation. Then we flew the country's first unmanned test flights off a commercial airport, and we attracted partners, 150 testing partners in total now, and gained the confidence to pursue even bigger dreams. Just 2 weeks ago, we celebrated the first phase of a state-of-the-art 50-mile test corridor between Syracuse and Rome, the only one of its kind in the world, which is attracting the attention of even more companies and partners in this soon-to-be trillion-dollar industry. And it's not just for new companies in this region that are benefiting from these investments, but our existing businesses here in Central New York are benefiting as well. SRC announced recently that it will create more than 1,000 jobs in Central New York over the next 5 years. And Saab, after designating Syracuse as its North American headquarters, has committed to creating 260 jobs as well. These grand transformations began with small successes. Dozens and hundreds of partners contributed, each in their own way, and the result is a winning trajectory. Now, I hope you each are as proud as I am of how far we've come together. And I also hope that you will join us as we tackle the difficult work ahead. 1 out of every 2 children under the age of 18 in Syracuse live in poverty. Our ranking among the poorest communities in America is getting worse, not better. And while our wages are rising for the first time in a decade, so too is economic inequality and economic segregation. As a business leadership organization, we cannot accept these conditions in our community, and we must continue to accept responsibility for changing them. Now, I am extremely proud of the work that our organization has undertaken to confront these realities. We've built an entire portfolio around economic inclusion that looks for ways to integrate our economic development efforts with our neighborhoods and our neighbors. We've built programs like WorkTrain that have placed more than 600 and underemployed people in our community into careers in healthcare, manufacturing, and beyond. We've launched Upstart, an incubation and acceleration program that seeks to translate the skills that we've developed at the Tech Garden into opportunities for minorities and refugees seeking to pursue their own dreams of entrepreneurship and self-employment. And we've helped to launch the Upstate Minority Economic Alliance to reach and give voice to businesses and business owners that we have not always been able to engage. Now, these problems of poverty and economic inequality are not ours alone to solve, but they are our problems, which is why today we also celebrate a key partner in this work, Walt Dixie and Jubilee Homes, winners of this year's Community Visionary Award. For the past 30 years, Jubilee Homes has been a vocal and tireless advocate for collaboration, working to address blight and poverty in our community. As you heard earlier, created more than 100 homes for low-income neighbors along South Avenue, championed workforce development efforts and partnerships to connect neighbors to businesses and jobs, surveyed the market to determine the hidden buying power in our minority community and make the case for greater investment. And they had the vision and the foresight to assemble the real estate, the partners, and the capital to trigger the most meaningful economic development project on the Syracuse's South Side in decades, the opening of the Price Right supermarket on South Ave. Just like St. Joseph's Investments on the north side or WCNY on the near west side, projects like this are building blocks. They are bricks and mortar examples that entire neighborhoods and the neighbors who live there are not forgotten. They are quite literally beacons of hope. That is exactly what we're celebrating here today. The hope that comes from each success, from each win, from each of you, our 2017 economic champions. Our progress as a community is the direct result of your daily efforts. Congratulations, thank you, let's keep it going. Now, it is my absolute pleasure